Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe joins me now with more this morning. Premier, good morning. Appreciate your time with us.
Good morning, Marcia.
Did you see this happening? Were you prepared for this lockout at midnight?
Well, I don't think anyone in Canada can prepare for the lockout as far as offsetting the impacts of it. But I think everyone has seen that these negotiations have been going on for some period of time. They've been very challenging. And I think we'd really echo the federal government's comments at this point is for all parties to get back to the table. And all parties have some tools that they can utilize at that table. That is where the best agreements are found. And if they aren't, we would ask that everyone look at entering into, some type of agreement like binding arbitration to ensure that Canadians aren't going to experience the full impacts of this shutdown. Canadians don't want it. The federal government doesn't want it. The rail companies don't want it. And certainly I don't think the union workers want to be out on the picket line either. So we would ask everyone to work together to minimize the impacts of what is here today. And to get our goods moving again, both into the country and out.
Do you feel that the federal government should be doing more to intervene at this point in the negotiations?
Well, we've been clear. They are very involved in the negotiations, but we've been clear as well that we just simply can't have a lockout in this nation. We can't have a strike in this nation. We can't have an impact to our transportation services, a huge impact to a province like Saskatchewan on the export side. But I would say to all Canadians as well, including us in Saskatchewan on the import side. And I think those imports and lack of them are going to become evident in the very near future in the next few days. And so the federal government is involved. We would ask and support them to move with the tools that they have. And likely the most effective and impactful of those tools and quickly that would be most quickly implemented of those tools would be to work with the groups and to put forward binding arbitration. But they are involved, the federal government. We talked with Minister McKinnon yesterday and appreciated that. And we would support them in using the tools that they have to end this strike, but also being fair to all parties involved.
Let's talk more about the impact on Saskatchewan. What are you hearing from crop and grain producers?
Well, it's a tremendous impact as our crop comes off for our agricultural community, which is over $20 billion a year. And we also have potash that is being exported around the world. We have oil that is going, forestry products that are going around the world. And we experienced last year about a 13-day port strike at the Port of Vancouver, I believe. And that strike alone cost us, literally billions of dollars to the Saskatchewan economy because there were some peak prices, global prices that were missed during that period of time. And so, the impact to Saskatchewan is huge on the export side and to the jobs and opportunities that we have. But there is also an impact on the import side, on us getting our goods into our Saskatchewan and Canadian supply chains. And this is it's not deemed an essential service, but it certainly is when you look at how we operate and function, not only as Saskatchewan, a province in Canada, but Canada within the continent of North America. And so it's imperative that we get these trains running again. And so we support the federal government in utilizing the tools that they have to ensure that happens.
I'm glad you raised the point, or the word at least, of essential, because I think, Premier, that's a question that is on the minds of many Canadians. Why, when we're so dependent on rail, aren't these workers considered essential? Should they be? How does that work?
Well, and I think that is going to be a discussion for after we find an agreement here. They are essential in what they do, and we understand that they have some asks for to be compensated and be able to safely do the work that they do. But we also need the rails to run. We need our goods to travel up and down the rails, and nowhere is that more important than Saskatchewan. People will call us a landlocked province. I say we're not landlocked because we're also Canadians, and there's many Canadian ports that we have access to, but only when our ports are operational and our rails are running. And so for products coming in, and for products that we are providing the world, when we provide the world with the food security and energy security that we do, it's imperative. It's imperative that we have access to those ports through our rail lines. And so we want a fair agreement. There's been negotiations, I think tenuous negotiations that have gone on for some period of time. Federal government has been involved in those with mediators and such. At this point, I don't know if there's going to be another option outside of binding arbitration. We would support the federal government in that. An ongoing long strike is just not going to be in the best interest of Canadians, not in the best interest of the folks that work on the rail lines, not in the best interest of the rail lines themselves or Canada's reputation globally either.
Yeah. Last question then for you. You mentioned that you have spoken with the minister. Have you talked to the Premier?
No, I haven't. Our ministers, we have 4 ministers involved in this: our Minister of Transport, our Minister of Labour, but then our Ministers of Ag, Energy and Resources as well have been involved with Minister McKinnon, Minister Rodriguez, and others. We have not spoken to other premiers as well, and that may be coming in the not too distant future as a call to talk to the Prime Minister on ensuring that we're minimizing the impacts of what we're into already and where we find ourselves in Canada this morning. But did appreciate the discussion that Minister McMorris, our Minister of Labour, had with Minister McKinnon yesterday, and support him and his government in doing whatever needs to be done to ensure that there is a fair deal that is in place for all the parties involved, but there's not an impact in shutting down our transportation links to the world.
Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe. Premier, thanks so much for your time with us today.
Thank you, Marcia. You have a great day.
You too.